Mike Irwin's with us from Pig Trail Nation. Always appreciate his time on a Monday morning. Good morning, Mike. Happy Monday. Basketball got blown out. Football adds into the portal. Baseball's been ranked 7th in the preseason by D1 Baseball. So where you want to start?
Probably with basketball. That was the kind of, I felt like they would have a tough time winning there because I think Auburn's pretty good and road games are tough in the SEC. I don't think anybody expected that blowout. It's the first time this year that they've really played poorly, both defensively and offensively. They scored points, but they weren't themselves. And Acuff had an off game. Again, he scored, I think, 19, but he had maybe 1 assist, had 3 turnovers. He didn't get the offense into the flow, and there was a lot of bad passing going on. So when you're not doing much offensively and then you just kind of do nothing defensively, and that's been a problem with this team all year long. There are people already saying, okay, you can forget about Final Four, Elite 8, even Sweet 16. You can't get that far playing. If you're going to be down 29 points at one time to an unranked team, you just don't have it. None of Nolan's good teams did that. That's what I'm hearing a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you. What about Carter Knox? I mean, if Carter Knox isn't playing, is he healthy? What's going on there? You need Carter Knox out there playing 28, 32 minutes if this team's going to make a run in March.
Yeah, he went down pretty early. Now, he didn't do much when he was in there. He played something like 7 minutes. I think they were down maybe 2 points when he left. The first time he just went to the bench. When he came back, they were down 7, but he was in a couple of minutes before he got hurt, and they gave up. Their lead went from 7 to 14 during that time. Would he have made a big difference if he'd have stayed in? Maybe. It's hard to say. I don't think it makes a difference between winning and losing. But again, it's how you lost, the way you got blown out. A lot of people are just, and I can't argue with it. If you get beat that badly by an unranked team, I don't care if it's on the road. Really good teams don't do that. So we'll see if they can bounce back. I mean, there were some things going on. They had that win over Ole Miss, but they had a tough time getting back home. Got back late. The flight was delayed, had to land, I think, in Memphis and then wait, and didn't do much on Thursday. And then they had to get back on a plane and go again on Friday all the time. Auburn is sitting there at home waiting for them, working. And so, those kind of things do line up from time to time, but they just need to bounce back Wednesday. They'll beat South Carolina. I don't see any problem there, but then they got to go to Georgia, and Georgia has not lost at home this year. That will be a tough game. And then you come back here and play Vanderbilt, and Vanderbilt is undefeated. So you need to win that game. If they do that, even if they lose to Georgia, if it's close, you don't want a double-digit loss. If it's 4-5 or something like that, then you come back and beat Vanderbilt, then I think you're in pretty good shape.
I'm a little worried about defense on the road, especially with Ole Miss and Auburn shooting well over 50% in these last 2 games. Speaking of defense, too, they've now I've done a little analysis on the portal for defense for football right now, Mike. Not so much on offense. They've built an entire defense through the portal. I know you got a couple guys sprinkled in here and there that are sticking around. Rhodes and Collins, Bradley Shaw. Trying to think of Nigel Pringle is sticking around, kind of thinking of some of the other cornerbacks. Wyatt Simmons, too, I think, at linebacker. But this whole defense is portal.
Yeah, four cornerbacks, 2 safeties, and 6 linebackers. You think they don't want to tackle better? And the way this defense works under your new defensive coordinator, a lot of those linebackers can come down and become more edge rushers. So that's why they needed so many, and they brought in 6. And look, they got some guys away from players from teams that wanted. I mean, if you go on the other side of the ball, the biggest need they had was at offensive tackle. They didn't have a starter, and now they've got four coming in, and 2 are obvious starters. And the one that looks the best, a kid from Washita Baptist, that's Division II. You can say what you want. Half the teams in the SEC wanted him. And it boggles my mind that Sam Pittman, an offensive line coach, that kid came in here and went through camp, and they didn't offer him a scholarship, and now he's coming back in here as maybe one of their best portal gets. That's just amazing. But the thing about this portal class that is impressive to me is they covered all their bases, even in areas where you don't think maybe they needed players. Wide receiver, that as of now, there's 3 more coming in. What about what happened yesterday, where they take a chance, but they bring a kid in from Boise State that some people feel like maybe the best receiver in the portal. He's had a lot of problems. He got kicked off the team at Ole Miss, went to junior college. He was at A&M before that. He's been everywhere and only played in about half the games at Boise. But if they can convince him, this is your last chance to do something to get yourself in a position to be a high draft choice. I'm told he's got that kind of talent. So they're doing that. What about all this stuff where they're bringing in a 17-year-old high school quarterback? And I'm told he may get as much as $1 million the first 2 years, $500,000 and $500,000, and there's all kinds of controversy. Casey Dick, the head coach at Fayetteville High, got blindsided by it. This thing has got to be worked out. It's not a done deal. But just everywhere you look, they've added players, even in areas where you didn't necessarily think they needed to add players.
Hey, guys, speaking of the portal, how much do you look at, like if we're getting a kid that's from a lower classification, but they have a lot of production based on some of these kids we're getting, like the Michigan running back? It's like he's a good player, but he's only played 3 games. What do you kind of value more?
Yeah, I think I do value, if you're talking Power 4 as opposed to Group of 5 or whatever, even Division II, I think if a guy has played a lot, has impressive numbers, I still like that in terms of immediately coming in and playing. They brought in a quarterback from, where is this guy, Nicholls State or somewhere, but he was kind of in there for the Heisman in Division II. Look, I mean, if your starting quarterback goes down at some point, especially early in the season, you got to have a quarterback that's been in there and played. You can't go on promise there. You need somebody that's been in tough situations, even if it's not at that level. So the Memphis running back, we know what he can do. He's not a big guy, but you look at him, and he has competed, and you've seen what he can do. You saw what he did against Arkansas. He had what I think broke the game when he had that 60, 65-yard run where he would just, first of all, he nailed, I think it was a linebacker that came in and just nailed that guy and knocked him backwards and then just peeled off to the left and outran everybody. That's an impressive running back. I don't care where he comes from. So I'd rather go with somebody that's played.
Casey Dick has since deleted the tweet pretty quickly, and then had another tweet which I think said something about, looking forward to speaking with Coach Silverfield at some point. I think about repairing relations, maybe more than anything else. That was incredibly bizarre, Mike. And even though, both sides can try to tamp this kind of thing down, is this the kind of thing that's repairable? Well,
this, to me, is part of this problem right now with the portal and NIL. That's still relatively new. Look, guys, we've seen veteran college coaches get out of coaching, just say, I'm done. I'm tired of replacing half my roster every year, not being able to know who I can count on. Imagine being a high school coach, thinking you got one of the top quarterbacks in the country coming back, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day and find out he may be gone. Now, that's not a done deal. He hasn't signed with anything, and I guess it could still change. But I understand why he reacted the way he did initially. The mistake is going on Twitter. That's always a mistake. You need to talk to people in person, not do that. I would have gotten on the phone with Silverfield and had it out there one-on-one rather than put it out there the way he did. But he came back, corrected it. I don't have any doubt that they're going to both get together when this thing is over and they'll issue a statement. Fayetteville High is important to the University of Arkansas. It's important the other way around, too. Those two football fields are 2.5 blocks apart. You just can't have a problem between those two programs, and I think this will get worked out. But the issue is, is he better off? Is that kid better off at age 17 just going ahead to college at this point? Or would he have been better off with another year in high school? Well, that's up to that kid and his dad. And look, his dad is not some average parent. You know, he's an analyst for Arkansas. He's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. So
Didn't
if that's
he take
what
over
they
coaching
decide
safeties after the coaching shakeup?
Do what?
I think his dad took over coaching safeties after the shakeup with the defensive.
Yeah, I mean, he's a veteran coach. So if the dad, this is the way I look at it is, you can't tell parents what they should do with their kids. If that's what he thinks, and he knows what's going on, this is not just some parent sitting over there that doesn't really know how the portal works and all this stuff. I mean, he clearly thinks this will be beneficial for him to come in now, sit for a couple of years, and then get ready to play. And you can't blame Arkansas for not turning that down. If you turn around and tell him, no, we don't want you at this point, we'd rather have you next year, what if you lose him then? And what if he turns out to be one of the best players in the country at some point? I'm told that kid is really smart. That's one of the best things about his game. I mean, you don't graduate a year early from high school unless you got some smarts going on between your ears. I mean, we see kids coming out, you know, early after their senior year and come and head to college early and give up that spring semester of their senior year, but not an entire year. That's amazing.
Mike, how you feeling? Miami, Indiana, college football national championship. What's your gut telling you right now?
I'm going with Indiana. I could be wrong. Miami's been a real surprise. They've done a lot. But I think they've more than met their match here. I'm just so impressed with Indiana every time I watch them, and impressed that he doesn't have a single 5-star kid on his roster, and only 4 or 5 4-stars. It's a lot of 3-stars. It's an older team, a veteran team, and I kind of like this because it suggests to me, and it should suggest to the fans, that even with all this stuff going on with NIL money and portal and all this stuff, you still win games with coaching and players that are committed.
What about the idea of the older team here? I forget what I saw about Indiana's average age, but they are, I think, wasn't Vanderbilt the oldest team in the SEC, Matt?
Yes.
I think Indiana may be. They may be the oldest team in college football, and that's got to have a little.
I believe in an extra college offseason, yeah.
And I'm not saying that to take away from any of their accomplishments, but I think they are and you're saying they're going up against a quarterback too who's 23 years old and Carson Beck. So this is just the state of college football.
Sure, and I mean we're seeing it in basketball too. Cal talked about that last week. How many times can you transfer? Can you transfer 7 times? I mean, what's going on here? But it is something new, and there's no question that there's a difference between going up against a team with 22, 21, 22-year-olds and teams with 24, 25-year-olds. You can think about it in your own life. You were probably much more physically mature at age 25, 26 than you were at 21. I mean, most of us are.
Why bet the playoffs anywhere else when MyBookie gives you everything you need to get paid? NFL playoffs are live, college football's down to the final teams, and the Super Bowl's just around the corner. This is peak betting season, and MyBookie is built for it. Same account, same wallet, sports, casino, reloads, live bets, everything you need in one place. Go to mybookie.ag now and use promo code HOGS and get your first bet covered up to $500. If it doesn't hit, use your Get Back bonus token and run it back. It's built a bankroll in January and ride it through the Super Bowl. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Only at MyBookie.